Hello, hello. Good evening. Good evening. Would help if I had my microphone close to me, right? Good evening. Let's unwind with the Evans. I am your co-host, Jessica Evans.
And I am Thomas. How's everybody doing today? How are you today, baby?
I'm doing well. How are you?
It's Monday, beginning of the week. A lot been going on. We had a very busy weekend, but finally got a chance to kind of wind down a little bit today and make it happen. Start a brand new week, and I'm excited. How about you?
Absolutely. I am too. We actually worked, got some things done around the house and just a lot of different things that took place over the weekend. Shoot, really all week. But it's been quite the adventure to say the
That's for
least.
sure.
But no, I'm excited for a brand new week, a brand new day. Have a lot to be thankful and grateful for. So we'll start that off with some gratitude. So
Some gratitude. Oh my,
absolutely.
gratitude Monday, y'all.
Mhm.
Gratitude Monday,
So
Lady
for those
Jessica.
who are just tuning in, please tag and share, tag and share. Let your family, your friends, your significant other, your boo thing, let them know that we're on the air.
hmm
We will be discussing a great topic. Now, for those who have been following us for some time now, this topic should not be new to you. If
Oh,
anything, it should be a refresher. So we
hmm
hope to see a lot of new faces on, and even familiar faces who watched it before. Give us your input. Give us the tools that you've been practicing
yep,
and how that's been working for you.
that stuff.
Absolutely. So, our topic, and again, for those who are just watching, I'm Jessica Evans, and tonight we are going to be discussing voids,
Uh
Vo-
oh.
voids in relationships,
Uh-oh.
dating, you name it, all sorts of relationships.
Mm,
Um, yeah, let's just kick it off and talk about voids.
okay. Well, let's talk to us about the voice then. Tell us, what's your take on voice? Which angle do you want to take?
How do you want to start it? Is the question.
Y'all see how she did that? Y'all see she run it back after her. She threw it back.
Hmm.
All right. I'll talk about voids and let's say family relationships.
Okay.
Let's talk about voids and family relationships, and that could be siblings, parents, um, cousins, grandparents, uncles, aunts. Void. Let's just say this first of all. Like we don't know. Voids is just something that's missing. It's something that's lacking, something that's not present. And any relationship could be vulnerable to missing something or having a void somewhere. So when it comes to families, there's such a thing as sibling rivalry, where
Mhm.
I guess the mindset is one seems to feel as though they're not getting the attention that maybe the other is getting, or perhaps they feel like there's just not, uh, they don't feel as loved, they don't feel as
Mhm.
appreciated, they don't feel valued. And so it creates conflicts within families. I've seen all kind of crazy family dynamics where brothers and sisters don't talk, sisters and sisters don't talk. In some cases, children and parents are not talking, and it's all because of this void that's there. And what we really want to do is help you guys understand it, how to locate a void, how to find out what voids may be there, and addressing the issues appropriately. Because what happens a lot of times in family dynamic is, instead of dealing with the issue at hand, it gets circumvented to a whole lot of other stuff. And none of that stuff is even relevant to what's really going on, how a person is feeling in your heart. And so it's really about being able to communicate from your heart. This is how I feel. This is what's going on with me. This is why this is going on. This is why that's going on. And all the other stuff, the shoes, the house, and all that. That's a
Mhm.
byproduct of the real void that's in the heart. And so we really want to be able to help you understand that that's a possibility, including friendships. Sometimes you may be in a position where you have to you feel like you have to choose between maybe two or three friends or four friends, and I don't subscribe to having to choose You should be able to be in the middle. If this person is your friend and that person's your friend, okay, the two may have a disagreement, but that really shouldn't have any bearing on you. And so then now there's a void because you feel like, well, I can't communicate to this one or I can't communicate to that one. And so again, it's all about being able to communicate properly how you feel, what's
Mhm.
going on, and in some cases, setting proper boundaries so that you don't feel like you're going one way or the other and you're able to stay, again in that middle ground without feeling like you're missing something from the one or she's hanging out with her and I feel lost. I don't feel like she's paying me any attention. Okay, see those types of things have to be dealt with. They have to be addressed, and really, it's about identifying, recognizing what's there. Why do you feel the way that you feel? Um, I don't think a lot of time that people self-reflect enough to understand the meaning behind what's really happening. Why are you feeling frustrated? Why are you feeling agitated? What's really at the heart of that? What's going on? Can we identify it? Can we pinpoint that? And then we at that point we can begin to really locate what the void is and begin to move forward from that place so that we can move forward and get some closure or a sense of stability in everything that's happening.
I will agree to that. There is a such thing as being neutral. So, for those who are just tuning in, the topic tonight is voids. What is a void? My husband went over the definition. That means to have something missing or something lacking. And so, oftentimes in family dynamics, there could be a situation where communication, there are such things as communication barriers. We talked about it on our previous episode, effective ways to communicate. And one of the top reasons why there can be a void is the lack of communication or just communication maturity,
Hmm.
just having mature conversation. There's not enough mature conversation going around. It's all into who's right, who's wrong. I just want to be heard. I want my voice to be heard.
Hmm.
All of these different things that go into selfishness. But if you truly care about the friendship, if you truly care about the family dynamic, the marriage, you'll make it a point to hear exactly what the person is saying.
Right.
It's not about if you agree. That's big. It's not about if you agree with what is being said. When a person is communicating to you their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, that's real to them.
Yes.
And sometimes people can come off cold-hearted. Okay, well, that's your issue, or I don't see it that way,
Right.
or I reacted because you did such and such, or it's always shifting the blame. And
Right.
again, that isn't a healthy dialogue to have. So when you see a void that exists in any stretch of the imagination or a void in any relationship, it's important to create that dialogue, be able to know that even if you're the one initiating that communication, there may be some things that the person may share with you that you may not agree with. You may not agree with it. Your feelings may be hurt
Yeah.
based off of how you see yourself. And this is big because we often counsel clients of ours about it's not about how you see yourself.
Right.
It's about how the other person that you're in relationship sees you and what impact or lack thereof that you're
Right.
making in their life. And so when you really take yourself out of this mindset of perfection or, okay, well, I do this good over here, so all that other stuff doesn't matter, it does matter. Because in every relationship, there should be a mindset to even achieve greater, to want better for your relationship, your friendship. There were times I can even reflect back in my life because of course we share with you our testimonies and different things that we've endured and gone through in our lives, and I can think back to times where I've had multiple friendships and certain friends just didn't get along with the other friends, or I went to this person, I knew who to go for what if
Right.
I wanted to vent. I knew who to go to. If I didn't just want an event, but I wanted to get great advice, great sound advice, I had this person over here for that. If I wanted to have fun, this person over. So it was all these different friends who played a factor into the friendships that I had. And, we share it all the time. When it comes to family, you can't choose which family you're born into and who you're connected
Ooh.
to.
Uh-oh.
But the beautiful thing about friendships, and, my heart goes out to anyone who never really experienced healthy friendships, because when it comes to friendships, that is something that you're consciously choosing.
Right.
And friends can really turn into family. They don't judge you, they don't ridicule you. They tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. Just like it reminds me of a sister dynamic. But it really is one of those things where it matures you and you're able to look outside of your own lens. So
Right.
when there's a void, you have to be sure and be mindful that first, you're communicating that void, but then secondly, you're not consciously, unconsciously choosing to replace. And that's the
Mm.
biggest thing in relationship and friendships. Once we realize that there's a void, and I'm saying we because again, we've been there, not perfect by a long shot. So when there is a void, oftentimes human nature says, okay, I have to fill it. I have to fill it with work. I have to fill it with activities.
Right.
I have to fill it anything, honestly, when I think about it, anything that validates you. That's usually where the
Mm.
replacement comes in from.
I don't know
That
about a
need,
validation because it's more a distraction, I think.
but it validates. If it's something that you're passionate about, or you get applause for, or you can feel good about yourself, that goes into validation.
Mm. Okay.
Because most times you're not going to do something that you don't feel good about doing in that moment. You think about infidelity, it feels good in that moment. That
Oh
may not be
boy.
the long,
Uh-oh.
we've all been there when it comes to that. So again, it's most of those different replacement factors are something that appeases your flesh and something that
Yeah.
you're looking for. You're
Yeah.
looking for something. So yes,
Yeah.
most of the replacements are included in
Yeah.
validation. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But again, I would like your take on it.
No, actually, I like that because a void can drive you to look for a replacement. And in most cases, that is what happens. That's why it's so important and imperative to understand if there are any voids in any type of relationship, friendships, family, even marriage or whatever. It's very important to be able to identify if there's a void. And to my wife's point, which I love, are you replacing with something else? That's a big thing. Now, and I love that she mentioned the validation piece because I think sometimes we have to really process and understand the validation. What happens? I know, like for instance, for a man and for myself, what I do, I get applause and validation from the world. But honestly, none of that validation means anything to me if my wife is not validating. I don't care how many times I hear you're good, you're this, that, and the third. If my wife is not saying it, that is a problem. That's and for a lot of men, that's where okay, it's easy for somebody else to validate now because well, she's not validating me, she's not affirming, and so we really have to understand that validation piece, how important that is, in what happens. And so again, we're talking
Absolutely.
about the void aspect and what voids are in your relation or yeah, what voids are in your life and how can you identify these voids? And my wife mentioned it. Are you searching for something? Are you seeking for something? Are you pursuing something that really serves as nothing more than a distraction?
Mhm.
It could be television. It could be, you could be creative. You could be an artist and you want to do your artwork. So some of this stuff can be good things. Yet good things can be a byproduct of a void because it's replacing something else. It's getting in the way of something else. And so you really have to watch that. Now, I talk about that all the time. My personal story, how I threw myself into, my work, my ministry. You would think, oh, ministry is a good thing. No, it wasn't. That was the distraction. That was a void. So I threw myself into that. because there was something that else that was missing. And so as much as I was doing good, the intent behind it was not good. The
Yes.
motive behind it was not good. And
Mhm.
so that's where we have to really understand, self-reflect, and find out if there's a void in your life anywhere
Mhm.
and address it head on. Deal with the voids.
What you said brought me to 2 different, scenarios in my head that I went through in life, and one of the situations was my mom, she used to always say all the time, and again, I don't know where it came from, right, or the angle, but because she raised me, right, she gave birth to me, she knows my attributes, she knows when something is wrong, she knows when I'm happy, sad, whatever the case may be, excited,
Right.
nervous. She knows all of those different emotions. And so one day, I used to always get great compliments. You know, in school, I was always like either on the A honor roll or AB honor roll. I was very competitive with my grades. I didn't play that. But I just did not want to, like, if I got to see, my whole week was ruined in any subject. I just didn't like being average. You know, C constitutes as average. So I knew that in elementary school. So for me, it was like, I'm not going to be average. Average. I'm above average. So I always had this mindset. But part of what I want to share is when she spoke to me one day, she said, you know, your teacher always gives you all of these nice compliments and has all these great things to share. It's amazing how you could be one way at school and one way at home. How many people have heard that? How many parents out there
Mm.
have experienced that with their own children? So it's like, okay, you go to parent teacher conference. Oh, she is such this, and she's like, oh, really? She don't give you any attitude? No, attitude. I didn't think she could catch your attitude. Rolling, no. So all of these different things you go through as parents, you hear either you were that child, or as you begin parenting, you start understanding your child acts a completely different way, and everyone sees that person differently,
Right.
right? So when my husband gave the example, I remember early on in our marriage, he used to share that, you know, we had a conversation, we call it a check-in. So we haven't had one in a while, but the whole objective of a check-in is just to see exactly where you are in the marriage.
Like a tune-up.
It's like a tune-up for your
Mhm.
marriage or relationship. So in the midst of having a check-in, we mentioned, and I think it was right after the whole voids segment we did quite some years ago. And I shared with him, well, he shared with me what he said to you guys watching. He shared that, you know, based off of what he does, you know, he gets validated whether he's looking for it or not. He gets applause, he gets this, he gets that, whether he's searching for any kind of
Right.
replacement whatsoever. And I said, you know, I said, I'm trying to think of the exact words I said in that moment, but it was something along the lines of just, and it goes back to the whole teacher and child perspective. But when your spouse is the closest thing to, they should be number one besides,
Mhm.
you know, God.
Right.
But if they're the closest person to you, they see what others don't see.
Right.
So if you're constantly being applauded from the outside world, notice my husband says, I don't care nothing about that because it matters with what she feels and what she sees.
Right.
And so oftentimes we can get caught up. This is for men and women. I know he was speaking to the men, but this is for men and women. You could get so caught up about what the outside world, these social media likes,
Oh,
these
Lord.
hearts on your pictures. You could get so caught up in the hype. I'm gonna
Yep.
call it what it is.
Mhm.
And when a person, your partner, your spouse brings something to you, what? You're the first who ever said that. Oh, you're ungrateful. You're this, you're that.
Oh,
So
wow.
now
Yeah.
it's all of this going on. And it's not enough of really self reflection, as we mentioned, because again, those people from the outside, they don't know who you are.
What you
I
really
mean,
are.
who
Right.
you really are. And it's not to say that there's a drastic change from 0 to 100, but there are some things that your spouse can see. That's about being intimate. That's about being one. That's just normal. That's God
Right.
ordained, that people are on the outside are just not going to see.
Correct.
So it's important not to even compare do this whole comparison thing and
Oh
just
God.
really puff yourself up or allow people to puff you up.
Yep.
Because what really matters is serving each other in every capacity.
Right. Well, and that goes to what your mom was saying, where if the teacher would say, oh, she's this, that, and the third, and your mother, the closest thing to you,
Yep.
sees you at home, sees you in a watch this guy. The person is closest to you sees you in a relaxed atmosphere. So they get the dirty shoes, they get the socks in the middle of the floor, they get the relaxed version of who you are, and that relaxed version may not exemplify or be a perfect representation of who everyone else gets to see.
Because you're performing, right?
That's
whether you want to call it that or not,
Right.
But when people see you in a certain light or you have a certain title to your name, automatically, whether you want to agree with it or not, you're performing. Basically. You're not necessarily performing for their approval, but there's still a demand. So wherever there is a demand, there's performance attached to it. So you can go back to the workplace, what you do on the job, all of those different things. What you do and what you contribute is performance. The same thing with a title. Whoever sees you as such, that's what they're going off of, and you're performing to that. That's why it's so easy, even for a relationship, podcaster, content influencers, digital creators. It's so easy. We got TikTok. We're a part of this TikTok generation. It's so easy to compare. Go to your phone and compare the next relationship that you just don't know, but you're comparing and thinking grass is greener on the other side. And you're mismanaging your relationship that you have with your family. You're mismanaging your friendships. You're mismanaging your spouse, your significant other. And it's important to really have that dialogue, have that self-talk with yourself. I guarantee you, when you self-reflect, you'll be able to decipher and to point out certain things that you need to work on so that there's not a void, because those are parasites to any relationship.
Well, and the great point that you just brought up, and we welcome everybody that just came on board. We're talking about voids tonight. What are voids? How can you work with voids? How can you identify voids? And there could be voids in any kind of relationship. They could be family relationships. They can be married husband and wife. They can be siblings. They can be mother, father, sister, daughter, son. There's so many different variations of relationships, and voids are a real thing, and voids destroy relationships. If you cannot identify a void, you can be the very reason why a relationship is destroyed, because you haven't identified the void. And so, to my wife's point, if you're comparing, and for myself, that's why I do my best not to really even, I don't concern myself with other relationships. I really don't, because I know how dangerous that can be. Because you can look at something and be like, oh man, she did this. You see how her hair is? And look, even just by saying something, a statement like that, it's not so much that you may be comparing it like to your wife, but she hears that as, oh, so my hair's not like that. So now, all of a sudden, that dynamic helps create voids. And so, like she said, if you're a hopeless romantic, there's a lot of people out there that's hopeless romantic. So they look at these wedding magazines, they see the long wedding gowns, they see the ballrooms, they see all of this stuff. Do you have the same money that these people have? I mean, do you have the same? And so now there's a void. Well, we went to the justice of the peace. So now there's a void because we didn't get to have this big grand wedding, or we didn't get to travel around the world to seven different islands. So there's different dynamics there.
It's funny because I'm reading this book from this couple that I actually follow. They have a relationship podcast. Very, very beautiful couple inside and out. But what I want to share was one of the things that they mentioned was, if that was already your idea, when they first began dating, there wasn't social media. So from that perspective, their dating was completely authentic. There was nothing to compare it to. The only comparison was grandma and daddy. I mean, mom and dad, grandma, all of those different things, elements. But from social media just being at your fingertips, they didn't have to battle against that. And oftentimes they would share throughout the book that it's important now, to my husband's point, you may not have the same money as these people. My biggest thing is, if you weren't complaining about justice of the peace and you agreed to it, what we talking about?
Uh-oh.
I mean, and that's outside of
Shots
TikTok.
fired.
That's outside of all of that. You have a choice. So let's not then condemn or make the man feel bad or feel like, oh, well, we rushed it or we did this and there wasn't enough thought taken out of it. Next, last time I checked, it's two in a relationship. So at any point, you both could have been disciplined enough
Right.
and say, you know what, I'm going to budget for this day. This day is once in a lifetime because I don't see myself getting married again. Let's do it the right way. Let's really have our
Right.
dream wedding, whatever that looks like.
Right.
And
Right.
that's the biggest thing. Now, if that's already a desire in your heart, that's one thing. But to have social media dictate how you live, what aspirations you have, all of those different things, it is dangerous. Now, social media does have its pros to it, like anything else in life.
Right.
But there are also cons if you're allowing social media to dictate how you move, how you think, and all of those other things. It should already add value
Right.
to what's already in place inside of you.
So, question for you, babe. Do you think that social media helps impact or induces to some degree some voids in relationships?
Repeat the question again. I'm sorry, I
Do
was
you
reading a
think
comment.
that social media could also play a part in helping create some voids in some relationships?
From comparison, if you're constantly on social media comparing, oh, I don't have this, I wish I had this, or oh gosh, they said that they're 35. I'm still working at McDonald's at 35. I'm failing in life. Like if you're having that kind of mindset and it's
Right.
really making you depressed, by all means, stay off of it. But I just believe it also goes to a self-esteem. If you have
Okay.
low self-esteem, if you lack confidence and all of those different things, social media can be dangerous
Yeah.
for you and a detriment to any relationship that you're
I
establishing.
definitely agree with that. Now, there was a question that was asked that said, doesn't social noise through the magazine, TV, websites, and things like that, don't they do the same thing that maybe social media does? And I would say they do, but I think and I'm not going to say no. Here, let me say this. They do.
It does.
However, I think for most people, especially like with television shows, they know that's a fake. However, like I know, for television shows, everything is so drawn out. It's so dramatic. Somebody can't just have a job. They gotta be the number one dog at a lawyer's firm. They've got to be the number one tax accountant. They've got to be the everybody. Everything
There's
is always
there's a script to it.
Yeah, so
there's a storyline attached to it. So certain things like from television, we talk about Disney all the time, fairy tales, all of those different things have its place because you automatically expect, okay, this is not real, this is fiction. But when it comes to whoever you may follow, it could be your peers, it could be people you went to college with. These become tangible people. You get, so that's the difference. Who you see on TV, you don't know that person, but who you see, oh gosh, we graduated college at the same time, or they graduated a few years. Look at what they've accomplished. They already bought their first. So that it's easy to get into the comparison when it comes to social media, because most of the people that you follow or you're friends with, you have crossed paths one time or another, or they're friends of a friend, that kind of thing.
So question, with these voids, I'm like the angel's advocate today. We're not going to be devil's advocate, we'll be the angel's advocate. But could voids be self-inflicted? Could they be something that's just a person could automatically have maybe some drama happen in their life that they didn't heal from, or something they've experienced, and so now that void is there and they never dealt with the void, so now they're in a relationship and they begin to project onto the other person that void that was already there.
And this is something that gets brought up in our counseling services all the time, but when it comes to dealing with trauma, when it comes to dealing with a level of brokenness that you may have experienced in your life, I always subscribe to the point of, if you can help it, deal with it before bringing another person into it.
Oh boy, I love it.
That is very selfish. That's not being steward over your life. And why does someone else have to go through the motions and you're still trying to figure out who you are? There's no way you can even be what the woman needs you to be if you don't even know who you are. Can we start there first? Can we forgive daddy? Can we forgive mom? Can we forgive sister and brother? Like, we have to be able to do all of that first before you even talk about, oh, I love her. Do you even know what love is? Because anytime
Wow,
that a
even in a
woman comes in your
relationship.
life, you have commitment issues. So why are we throwing the word love around so loosely? Could it be that you're trying to say you love a person because you have abandonment issues? Abandonment issues
Oh,
does not cover up, it exposes, if anything, in a relationship. And, oftentimes that doesn't happen until later.
just for the record, y'all, she drinking a Mystic Tropical
I
Punch.
promise you, I know it's less than
She's
wine, but
swinging.
this is like
She's swinging
literally
from
juice.
the mountains, but she's drinking Mystic
This
Tropical
is literally
Punch,
juice.
and it's got her on a roll tonight.
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying,
I love it.
look, we're going to help you guys. But no, in all actuality, I just believe that when it comes down to, doing the necessary work, making any relationship and marriage work, even friendships, that takes work. Friendships,
Yes,
I know we talk about dating all the time. We talk about marriage and
hmm
relationships, but I just want to do a segue into friendships. It's
very
easy to
important.
maintain friendships when you go to the same school.
Right,
It's easy to maintain friendships when there's a common physical place in
work.
mind where you're seeing work, when you're seeing that person every single day. But the true work happens, and I say this all the time, you don't really know who your friends are until you go through a wilderness experience or otherwise, until you
True.
go through something heavy.
Right.
That's when you really know who your friends are.
Trust me on it.
And
Yep.
and in saying that, you have to even be careful when it comes to friendships.
hmm
If your marriage is not right, if your relationship is not in order, then calling your best friend or calling your cousin or calling your sister, your mama, whoever, we share all the time. When your marriage or relationship is not where it needs to be, you shouldn't be communicating with anybody.
Flip that lip.
You shouldn't be communicating. And I'm not saying when
Yep.
I say communicate, I'm not talking about the issue or why there's a void. I'm talking about the fact that you're looking for companionship. So it's easy. Okay, well, you could be in your feelings. I don't have to talk to you. I can call my brother. I can call my minister friend.
Look,
Or I could call, my girl down the street. I can call her and
that
stay on the phone.
replacement for the void.
I can stay on the phone with on the phone with hours, and okay, you'll be in your feelings, you'll come around. But in the meantime, I'm on the phone talking to whoever and possibly getting validated, being complimented. So what I need you for, what I feel like the void that's missing is also being replaced in that same factor.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be opposite sex friendships. It could even be same sex friendships.
It could be parents. It could be
Yeah.
siblings. The bottom line is with voids, again, the replacement aspect. If, to my wife's point, if there's an issue, ideally the only person you need to be communicating with is the person that you're having the issue with, so that you can come to a resolution. Too many relationships get destroyed because you decide to go to someone else and communicate about the relationship. And now we do believe, and we have a group, a group of people that we would counsel, that we call a safe group. And we learned in counseling that you should have at least five people that are considered safe. These are people that you can share pretty much anything with, but they also can share with you, and they're accountable. It's more like an accountability group. Not so much a vent session. I'm having a problem. I just want to vent. No, 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 no. This is an accountability session. Well, they did this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but what did you do? Don't even talk to me about them. Talk to me about you. What happened in your life? What transpired with you when this went on, when that happened? So it's when you have safe groups, a safe group of people, that's a different perspective, because now you're in a position of where resolution takes place. But to just pick your phone up and call your uncle because, oh, me and my uncle, we always, oh no, that's out of order.
If you have communication to pick up the phone, to someone else, you have the energy the energy to fix your relationship or whatever is going on. Fix that first. You shouldn't be communicating with. No, fix that first. Humble yourself and fix that first and stop looking for a replacement. Again, we're speaking on maturity.
Mhm.
We're speaking on voice for those who are just tuning in, and
Yes.
what voice are and how to really eliminate voids. So, can you kind of share about how a person can eliminate voids?
Well, one of the first things that we talked about was identifying it. Identifying what's the feeling. Why are you frustrated? Why are you, why you feel lonely? What is at the root behind what you're feeling? Once you can identify what the root is, the second thing that you need to do is communicate.
Oh yeah,
Communicate
that was
with the
smart.
person that going on.
So you
Listen.
agree with the communication piece?
Oh my gosh, yes, because
Okay.
watch this, guys, and this is a big problem in relationships. Nobody is a mind reader. Nobody is a mind reader. I listen now. There's a different segue, but there's a gift on my life that's absolutely crazy. But even with the gift that God has placed on my life, I cannot read this woman's mind when she's going through something. Just cannot do it. Okay, it just cannot do it. So communication is of the essence. You've got to be able to communicate because that will eliminate the void. Because let me say this in the communication piece, there is a way to communicate that is healthy. There's another way to communicate where you just trying to say what you got to say, you getting off your chest, you just going to give them a piece of your mind. That doesn't, unfortunately, that doesn't do anything. That's not productive. But there is a way to productively communicate. Hey, I'm really feeling like this is what's going on, and this, it seems like something's missing. This is where I feel like it is, and this, I really need you to do this because this will help me. First of all, and my wife says it all the time, that shows vulnerability.
I was gonna say that sounds great, but I think when you were sharing that, that's coming from women. Women are more
To
inclined
be
to share
vulnerable.
their feelings.
Hmm.
So, from your perspective as a man, what do you do in those situations where there's a void? Because we talk about our relationship and our dating and all of those. What do you practice, or do you just say, you know what, it's not a big deal, and kind of push your feelings to the back burner?
Well, no, I
And
mean,
let's
I'll
be
tell you, like, I joke a lot about it, but I tell her, babe, when we were dating, remember I used to come over to your place, and the first thing you would do was take my shoes off. She would untie my shoe. Now it would just, there was something about that. I had never in my
mhm,
life had a woman who did that. I mean, that was
mhm.
just mind blowing, and it's like, wow, what is this? It's just something about that, and then so then I would say, babe, you didn't take my shoes off, and you just treat like my feet stink now. Something. What's the, and she like, nah, babe, it's not that. It's just our connection. Okay. What do I need to communicate with? So I'll share with you. I may not come from that vulnerable place. That's why I mentioned my wife says that all the time because one of the things that I thank God for with my wife is she's helped me immensely with my communication in regards to the vulnerability piece.
Mhm.
Because for men, she's right. That's not something that's not our go to. Yeah, I mean, again, barbershop talk and all of that stuff. That's not what we do. We talk about things, we talk about money, we talk about material. Never, ever, ever,
And
ever,
then
ever do
expect for
men
your
just talk
marriage
about
to be
feelings.
at 100%.
And that's the
Can
problem.
we understand the logic, ladies?
No,
You
but
you
really,
do
but
everything else.
But think about that though, because ladies, think about what I just said. And my wife, we did this one show before. And my wife said, "Women talk. It doesn't matter who they're talking to. They're talking, and they're talking about their feelings. They're talking about their self. That men do not talk about themselves. They talk
Oh,
about
yes, they
things,
do.
or when they talk
Ego.
about themselves, they talk about their titles. But
Yes.
those things are
What
not
they've
relevant because
accomplished
your title does not make you who you are. So this is about
to
self.
a mature person.
Well,
Most
no, in
most
general. But the reality is when
mhm.
men talk, when I with a bunch of guys,
Mhm.
never, ever, 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 unless it's me and my sons, then they may say, well, dad, I feel like this, I feel like that. But again, it's because it's a father-son dynamic. And
And
watch this. I have like four that are, like really close in age. They won't even do that in front of each other. Now, I may get them individually and then they'll express what's going on, but it's not going to be done in front of the other brothers because they do not want the other brothers to see them as being weak. And unfortunately, for a lot of men, vulnerability is considered weak. And
Did
so,
you subscribe to that at one point in your life?
oh, I mean, my father threw me off of a roof.
We talk
Don't
about
cry.
in relationships. Like, did you feel
That's-
like communicating your feelings was weak? When did you?
I was never taught to. I was, again, everything for me was about don't cry. You better not. You better not. And my father was a veteran, a Vietnam veteran, military guy. He was a man's man. So everything from that perspective was always about look. And so my mother, just as gentle as she can be.
I was going to say he didn't teach you gentleness
No.
and how to communicate.
Gentleness.
I'm talking about in America. He had a successful marriage for all them years. He should have taught you something.
It was a lot of work.
And that's the biggest thing. Just him.
They did a lot of work.
But no, what I admired so much, about my in-laws, love them dearly. What I admire so much about them is I saw the effort. I saw the work. Behind closed doors. They were never really social media people, so they weren't fronting for. So you got what you got when you saw them. But it was just this undeniable love and sacrifice, and just this need to serve, not want to serve. Their need to serve one another.
Yeah,
and that's what I appreciate the most about them. I'm thankful you had an opportunity to even share, see that. Most people nowadays, you're talking about 50 years of marriage where you have all these broken marriages, relationships, dysfunctional relationships. Yeah. It's just really sad. But most, when it comes down to the whole communication perspective and just truly allowing yourself, I'm speaking to the men out there. I made a joke with my husband, like, okay, y'all can talk about this and y'all can call each other for this, talk about sports and all that. Meanwhile, you can't communicate with your mate, and you expect now when she looking at you crazy and like, look, now you're like, wait, what you mean? I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Again, that goes back to your works. And so when it comes down to that,
go to that part right there. Go ahead, go.
When it goes down to your works,
pay attention, man.
But what are you adding value to? You have to understand first, because it's not a cookie cutter. So for me, I expect a certain level of intimacy. That may not be the same for another woman.
Right.
And so the high priority on my list is you're going to have to learn how to communicate. And I'm not just talking about communicate about people, places, things. I'm talking about truly let me get to know you, who you are right now. You're not the same person you were yesterday. Can we talk about you? Can we talk about me? Can we talk about what we're going to do in this? That's the dialogue I desire and what I need. And that comes from a security perspective because I need to see where we're going. All of the people, they're not in our house. I don't care.
Listen,
to God be the glory.
She is not joking.
To God be the glory.
She will go mum, like literally mum.
So,
and it's just like, I'm just trying to have a conversation with mum. But that's not me. Bruh.
Or that's not us. Yeah.
Mom.
But so yeah, I say that to say when it comes to communication, again, your woman or your man, you have to decide exactly what is it and have the conversation of what is it that they need from you. Because when you have that honest dialogue, they will share with you. They shouldn't have to worry about repercussions, anger expressed after they share what they share. Like it has to be a safe atmosphere to share. So for the men, I encourage you, if there is a void in your relationship, friendship, whatever the case may be, you're not weak. I'm speaking from a woman perspective. You're not weak. Now, the weakness is complaining about something and you're not taking the initiative to make a situation better. And that's unisex. That goes for men and women. Right. So that's what's weak. But communicating your feelings is not weak. But we have to be able to have that conversation and coexist in that particular atmosphere for there to be change, effective change.
Right. And watch this, guy. part of the void that are in the relationships is because you won't communicate about your feelings. She don't need the grizzly bear when he gets home. Sh the grizzly bear can be out there, but she doesn't need the grizzly bear at home. So part of that void could be simply because of that lack of communication and lack of vulnerability and lack of that feeling piece. And that's again, that's something I know it's hard for me, but it's a must.
I'll give you a
It's a
key
must.
secret. If you have a woman at home or you're dating one who just seems to be protected, they're protective of everything, their self, their mind, what they do, they give off this hard perception of who they really are. They can be soft, but they're not allowing you to even see that place or feel that place. So if there is a person, and women, usually women who have been hurt, usually women who have been disappointed,
Right.
who have experienced trauma, there's a certain hardness until you're able to really, and I don't want to say pass the test, but until she's able to trust you got her. So when I say that, if you're experiencing that from your woman, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm letting you know because I've been there. So I can only attest to what I've lived through and what I've gone through. And the key factor to me feeling that way or portraying myself to be that way is because of a lack of trust.
I used to call her Tupac, y'all. Every now and then, I still call her Tupac.
Lack of trust. And we have that conversation. It's like, look, can I be a lady? Can I be soft? It's one, look, I don't want to think about it.
Hmm.
I want to know, you got a handle? Great. That's going to put me in a pattern because watch this. There was a pattern, a dysfunctional pattern that led that woman to be who she is and who you see her today. So if you're not really receiving the love, if there's a wall, then there is something that you can help to alleviate the wall.
In other words, there's a void. And because of the void, this is why the woman is coming across hard, because there's a void. And she's replacing the void through her actions as portraying herself as being hard when really she wants to be vulnerable. And like my wife said, can I just be a lady? And that's the key. So we've got to recognize that the voids can happen any kind of way. But we talked about some of the ways to eliminate voids, and one of them is identifying the void. The second piece that we talked about was communicating with the person, that you may have the void in the relationship with. Again, these voids can be in any form or fashion: parent, daughter, father, daughter, brother, sister, yes, husband, wife. So these voids are all over the place. And we've got to understand that there are ways that you can eliminate these voids. But the biggest thing is you've got to see it. Listen, we talk about there's things out there, alcoholism and drug addicts, things like that. And one of the first things that they ever do for those people before they can ever be fixed, gambling. One of the first things you can ever do before you can fix that thing is to identify what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Identify. If you can identify it, now you can work on it. We were in a conference this weekend, and there was a financial guy that was up talking, and he was talking about ways to get out of debt and ways to become a little bit more prosperous. And the first thing, number one thing he said was, because he had like 5 principles. He said, but the first principle for getting out of this situation is, where are you?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you? And so that when it comes to voids, where are you? What's going on in your life? Why are you feeling the frustration that you're feeling? Why are you feeling agitated? Why are you feeling rejected? What's really going on? Where are you? Can you identify to the root? Okay, there's a void here. And the reason there's a void is not because it's your fault, not because it's her fault. No. In most cases, that void, listen, as much as the other person has a part in doing what they have to do to fill that void, a lot of the voids that people feel are inward reflections. There's something inwardly that it's either brokenness, it's abuse, it's trauma. There's something there that's caused some form of something to shift that now creates a void, and it gets projected onto the other individual. Oh, you need to do this, and you should have did that, and you didn't do
Mhm.
that. Okay, and if I would have done that, that void would
Yeah.
still be there.
Mhm.
So we have to truly understand and find out, where are you? What is the void? What's really going on between those ears? What's really going on in that heart of yours? What's happening that's causing you to feel that? Because again, with siblings, what's happening? Is there some jealousy there? Is there, you feel like mama loved him more than he loved you? What's really going on? That void is there, and you can't talk to your brother and sister. What's going on that you and your father can't communicate like you used to? What's going on that your husband and you guys can't communicate? What's happening? Identify the root behind this thing. Don't be so,
And work
listen.
at it.
And we talked about social media a little bit earlier, but you know, one of the worst problems that social media has done, babe? Social media has caused, well, a couple of problems. One, it's caused people to be bullied. But secondly, it's caused most people to never take accountability and responsibility for anything. Everything is always somebody else's fault.
Mm.
And social media plays a lot to do with that, because you
Division.
have so
Mhm.
many people on there. You need to get yours. It's time to go get it, and don't let nobody stand. I mean, it's all of it. And I understand the need for affirmation and positive outlooks, but a lot of times this stuff has a twist on it, and it causes people to take it in the wrong direction. So now there's no accountability for their own action. There's no accountability for how they speak. There's no accountability for the things that they do. And then it's quick to just point a finger at somebody else and say, well, had you did this, this wouldn't have happened. Well, what about you just making a simple decision and saying no?
Mhm.
I mean, and so it's really that piece now, where when those voids are there, we've got to deal with those things and address those things. And that's how you can eliminate these voids. Where are you? Find out what's going on. Why are you feeling the way you feel? And at that point, now you can change what's happening, because you have a path to be able to move forward in the opposite direction. And I'll drop the mic and walk away.
See what he did there? No, but oh my goodness. This is good stuff, you guys. This really is. If you have tuned in late, we encourage you to watch the replay.
Go back and
We
watch
are
it
here every Monday
share it.
at 9 p.m. So
Yes.
please feel free to share. Feel
Please
free
share.
to reach out to us.
Share, tag.
We have our YouTube channel that's scrolling at the bottom of your
Mhm.
screen. Let's unwind with the Evans, if I could talk. Let's unwind with the Evans 1232. And if you are interested in any type of relationship coaching, mentoring, counseling, you can reach us at email evanslетsunwind@gmail.com.
Yeah.
But listen, before we go, we were going to do a little twist tonight. To end this off, right? Because it's Monday.
I don't know what she got up her sleeve over there, y'all.
Monday.
She got something up her sleeve.
So my husband, look, I love games, right? So for those who know me, I love games. I love entertainment. So
Yes.
we have all of these different card games for intimacy, love languages, all of these different things. Also the fun and family games too, scenarios, like all the little crazy hypothetical
Taboo,
ones. Yeah, taboo,
category,
Twister, all that good stuff. I'm your girl
trouble,
for that.
Uno, flip,
How that happens.
Uno,
I got all of it.
phase 10.
But tonight we are going to be doing a card game. It's called Love Language.
We did this before.
Love Language. We've done it before. For those who have followed us in times past, this is a deck of cards, and they're categorized by family, past and future, individual, couple, sex and intimacy, and
we got some good ones we don't have. Okay,
good. And no, we're not doing the sex and intimacy one. They be tripping on that. We can't do that online.
Can't do that online. We gotta censor that one.
We can't do that online. But we're going to go ahead and get started with these couple of cards. I have not looked at mine, so this is how this looks, right? So you can't see it. That's orange.
And this is my deck over here?
Yep, that's your deck. Let's see if they can see this. Okay. So you see it says individual at the very bottom. So like I mentioned, all of the categories, individual, family, past, and future. we know what it is or what kind of question they may ask based off of the tagline
Right.
below. But we have not read these. My husband hasn't either. So we are going to start off with couple. Get your couple card.
Want me to start, or you can start? You start.
I'll start.
Ladies first.
This is the question. If we as a couple had a theme song, oh, that's funny. What would it be? That's funny because I literally just posted a video yesterday. I love Luther. I'm a big Luther Vandross fan. And the song I would go with is I'd Rather. That is my song. That is everything because it's just so vulnerable. And it outside of the butterflies, you got R&B. They just be trying to make you seem like you in a Love Jones and Love Story, The Notebook, and all of that. But no, really, that song just speaks of you're going to have highs, you're going to have lows, you're going to have storms, all of those different things. But if I'm not with you,
right,
I'd rather have bad times. Well, no. I'm getting the lyrics. I'd rather have good times with you bad times with you than good times with someone else. I said it right the first time. So yes. So having bad times with the person that you love versus good times with someone else. It just talks about the intimacy and teaches you to never give up.
Oh my
God. So he just now catching it. And
he
should know that song, but that's not right.
Do I answer that one too, or that's just you?
No, that's just you. What's your couple?
Okay.
You answer your question.
I've got a couple's card as well, guy. And mine says, in what way could we improve our relationship? Ooh.
It's on you.
In what way could we improve our relationship? I don't know. I guess communication. We talk a lot, but I guess more communicate. You can never over communicate too much, and I think that's probably a good thing. Next,
we're gonna take out the family cards.
Family.
And for those who are tuning, we're playing a little game, so don't log off. It's gonna be interesting. This card says, "What's the biggest difference between you and your family?" Why would this card give me the hot seat of my family gonna watch this if they're not already online? I already got one cousin I see. But no, what's the biggest difference between you and your family? I would say
you bougie.
No, that's probably what they would. That's what they would definitely think I would say. But no, I would say I'm more reserved than, well, it depends on what side of the family. But anyways, my mother's side, I'm gonna be specific. So I think for me, I'm more reserved. I'm not as straight to the punch, like 0 to 100. Now, there was a time, now this don't talk about past and future, this was just family, right? So there was a time where I went there and I used to be. But now now in this season, I'm not like that any longer. So
well,
you would hate to see how I was back then, because that's nothing compared to now, right?
Family.
I'm so calculated. Look, my family will tell you how they feel and then think about it afterwards.
I guess I can see that.
I'm like, okay, I have to think about it. I gotta process it. I gotta see a pattern. They said forget it
from the hip.
Forget a pattern. Straight shot, no chasing.
They shoot straight from the hip. So mine said, would you give your child more or less freedom than you had growing up?
Repeat the question.
Would you give your child more or less freedom than you had growing up? I don't know. That's interesting question, because I gave my boys quite a bit of well, not too much freedom. Now that I think about it, I gave them some freedom. I gave them some freedom, but it took time. Okay, and now that I have a daughter, she probably not gonna get no freedom at all from me. Individual is my next card.
Oh, it's my turn, baby. You on the road, right?
Okay, individual. Let's go individual. So I'm just looking at the time. I'm like, oh no, we gotta wrap it up soon. So,
where do you feel most at peace and ease outside of the home?
anywhere outside of the home?
I say the beach.
I was
I
gonna say water.
love the beach,
Mhm.
being by water. That is my love language. So tranquility, just give me a good book. If I don't have a good book, I'll just soak the sun up and
Percent.
I'll be there the whole time. People want to go walk in the strip and get into stuff. I'm like, beach. What we talking about? We could go places at home. Beach.
She gets cranky when you're at the beach if you want to do other stuff. I mean, they have roller coasters and all that, and she be like,
No lie. I went to the beach recently. This is a quick story. I went to the beach recently, and it's a family trip, but they wanted to stay in the hotel. We have this gorgeous condo, oceanfront. You hear me, right?
"Hey,
And they just want to be in the hotel. Oh yeah, we could do game night. We could cook. We could do. Okay, what are y'all doing that we can't do at home? We are at the beach. I'm gonna be outside. Y'all figure that out. I'm gonna be outside. Y'all know where to find me.
that's your girl, y'all.
That's me.
Individual. That's your girl. That's her."
Mm-hmm.
What do you choose to ignore because it's too difficult to bear? Ooh, I don't.
Vulnerability. Think about it. You don't have to
I don't
rush to
ignore.
answer.
No, I don't ignore. I have a hard time with it
You
because
may
I'm
not
still
know you're
working on that
ignoring it.
area. But I don't know. I don't ignore anything because it's too difficult to bear. I don't. Uh,
See,
that's
as his wife, I'm gonna just turn my head.
I'm bad on that one. What do you choose to ignore because it's too difficult? No, see, the key is because it's too difficult to bear. Now I'll ignore some
Avoidance
things.
is the same thing.
No, I'll
So
ignore some things, but not because it's difficult to bear. But maybe I don't want to process. I want to think about something, or maybe I would rather think something different about it, or have another positive outlook or something. But yeah, I don't know. That me kind of.
we don't skip. Answer the
Well, I
question. You
did.
have something. Look, we talking about vulnerability, all of that.
Oh,
You just said it's hard for men to be vulnerable. Prove them wrong, hubby.
no.
Prove them wrong.
No, babe, but that's just it. So, like with vulnerability, I don't ignore vulnerability. Like I said, it's something I'm still working on. So, working on something is not avoiding it. It's just something that you're not accustomed to. So, you're working to get that
Just
better.
don't read between the lines. Just read what
Yeah,
it
what do you
says and what
choose to
comes to
ignore
mind.
because
Yeah.
it's too difficult to bear?
First thing that comes to mind.
Nothing.
Okay.
Choose to
We obviously we still working on the vulnerability piece.
choose to, or if there's anything, it would be my father
Okay, that's
because he's
honest.
passed. I mean,
Yeah, that's honest.
so I choose not to necessarily. I mean, I still think about him, but just not as much as I could. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because it hurts, daddy gone, so you don't think about that all the time. Like, Dad, where you at, man? Dad was my best friend. So from that perspective, I don't. No, okay, so that's what I'll say because I actually have some shirts made with his face on it, and I still haven't taken the shirts out of the pack yet because I don't want to see his face. How about
Yeah.
that?
I love that, babe. Oh.
But it's true. I don't.
I
No,
know.
I see
I
his
love
picture.
it.
It it
See.
it it
No, I'm
it be
just
taking me someplace, y'all. I'd be like, nah, ain't
yeah.
ready for that yet.
I'm telling you, and he get mad when people say he invincible and Superman. This was to prove them wrong, and you like, oh, I don't know. I'm
Nah,
not
he
human.
I'll be like, yeah.
I'm not human, so I'm.
When they
But
say that, I'll be like,
anyways,
what?
but again, it's what you give off. Okay. So, are you an optimist, a pessimist, or a realist? I am a optimist for those who are watching. I see the glass half full. Now my realists do come in
I was gonna
now.
say you got a combination now. You got a
My realist
combination.
does come in. But for the most part, I'm very optimistic.
Yeah,
I get on
she's
people's
an
nerves.
optimist realist.
Yeah, I get on people's nerves with my optimism sometimes.
The wrong
Be
people.
like,
It's
it's
the
rain.
wrong people.
Oh, that's nothing. You got it.
That just means it's the wrong people. That's all. Individual. And my question is there anything you regret? I regret not knowing my wife years ago.
That's what your question was, really?
Yeah,
Is there anything? And that was your answer?
yeah.
Why? Why do you regret that?
Because I would have married you years.
You couldn't say that because we got an age difference. That would be, At
I'm
what
excluded. I'm
age?
not even talking about the age aspect. I'm talking
Okay.
about the love that I have for you and
Okay.
how
Like
I
if we
and
was born at the
yeah,
same
if we
time
and
and
we could have met at an earlier time frame
oh, that's so
and I would have
cute.
cute. I'm serious. That I
I've never
regret.
heard that before. We never got this question. It's like 100 cards. So, oh,
Nah,
that's
but
sweet.
that's the one thing I regret because I don't regret anything else. I've done a lot of crazy stuff, but a lot of that crazy stuff that I did
Like
has
our
helped.
listener saying, oh,
A lot of that crazy stuff has helped make me the person that I am.
he's
So
sweet. Oh.
if I would have taken any of that out of the equation, then I wouldn't be the person I am today.
Honestly, some of that stuff we could omit because I would rather see you gentle, whatever that gentle age 5 was you gentle then. I don't know when the heart.
Baby, you keep it. It starts with daddy.
Okay.
It's yeah, 5 years old is about it.
Okay.
But no,
Well,
but my biggest regret is not
I
being
want
able
to
to.
see him before the hurt. Just like I'm sure he would have loved to experience me before any heartbreak. I mean, gosh, we don't always get that when we get married. Like, can I get you in your most purest
Boy,
form?
wouldn't that just
They
be heaven?
often talk about sex waiting for marriage, but no, a
Emotion,
person
emotions before
emotionally.
marriage.
Can we deal with emotions?
Emotions
That's
before marriage.
real. Sex.
Oh, listen, that'll preach by itself.
Okay.
That emotions
We're
before
gonna get
marriage.
back. We have one last one. Thank you guys for. I hope y'all enjoying this little twist. It's not. Oh, it is not me.
Past and future.
Past and future. What do you wish we could spend more time on? I'm answering this. What do I wish we could spend more time on? Um, that's a good question. I guess it goes back to communication, getting to know each other better. Spend more time emotionally connecting. There goes that emotion piece again. Yeah, emotionally connecting. So there's no voids there because your girl, she needs that. So I think, and that's notice I didn't say money, I didn't say traveling, I didn't say all of that because none of that matters. You could be at Bora Bora unhappy. I don't want that portion. I'm not going to enjoy the vacation. Can we work at home? So yeah, I think I would spend more time connected with my husband. What's your one? What's
Past and future. Where do you see us in 5 years' time? In 10 years' time? So 5 years' time. 23.
Confuse me. I know it's your question, but where do you see us at 5 years time? So that's 2028.
2028.
In 10 years. Oh, it's two separate questions, 5 and 10. It's late. Go ahead. Go ahead, answer your question. That's why it's his question and not mine. Okay, go ahead.
I see us more in love than we've ever been in 5 years' time. In 10 years' time, I see us really taking this thing to a whole nother level.
What's this thing?
This relationship, this marriage, this love, this intimacy, because we're both so intentional about making our marriage work. That one thing I can say is I know that the both of us will do whatever it takes to put in the work. And so because of that, in 5 years, I can only see us really going to a different. People talk about how much we love each other now, and we absolutely do. We're crazy about each other, but I truly see us being, just that much deeper, in love, emotionally connected, mentally. I mean, just in so many different areas. I see that on the horizon. We're working every day, to make our relationship, that much better. There's good times.
There's challenging times.
Low
Listen,
times.
I'll let you guys in on a secret. Usually, whatever the topic is for the following week, we have a way of demonstrating all of that, having scenarios, real life examples, all of that we have for you. We in the moment, right? So let me stop. But no, it's so true. And I think oftentimes a lot of people don't really communicate, especially when they're on the front line or they're in the public eye.
Right.
If you're trying to serve people, if you're trying to help others be the best version of themselves, especially in marriage, there is a fight and attack against healthy marriages. And
All
so
day,
for
every day.
us,
All day, every day.
we're constantly on that battlefield, but it starts at home first. So that
Yes.
way we can give you the tools necessary. Look, I dropped the ball here. Don't do that because this is what your partner gonna feel, or this is
Right.
what you're gonna
Honestly, the
feel.
only reason why what we do is any way effective at all, it's because of the mishaps, mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
setups,
Not
setbacks,
perfect.
and all of
Mm-mm.
those things. So we literally, when we come on, we are sharing with you guys our experience. We're sharing. We're
Absolutely.
not saying our marriage is perfect. We're not saying
Well,
our
never.
way is the best way to do it. We're not saying that. What we are saying, however, and we say it all the time, my wife and I both went through about a year and a half, almost 2 years of straight counseling before we got married.
Mm-hmm.
We were adamant about unpacking any bags we had to unpack before we got into this relationship. I'm a pastor, for heaven's sake. I closed the doors of my church
Mm-hmm.
to seek counseling, to make
But
sure.
listen, that's an investment, right?
uh,
We can invest on cruises, traveling, make sure we got the itinerary, we
That
do
part.
the excursions,
Yes,
put money aside for that. But
yes,
no one wants to spend money
to invest
on
in their
making
marriage.
sure that they're where they need to be.
So
Whether it's
I closed the doors to my church
Mm-hmm.
so that I can make counseling a priority because I wanted to make sure that this woman would get everything that she desires.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because there was a guy that kind of spoke a word over the weekend that kind of hit a button with me because it's my daily prayer, and he had no business knowing that daily prayer, but he hit it to the T. And every day, my prayer is, Lord, show me how I can make my wife's dream come true. This is your daughter. Show me how to love her and show me how I can make her dreams come true. Because I know right now that all of her dreams have not manifested, but I want to be able to be the one that helps her dreams come true. So give me the strategy, give me the plan, give me the blueprint that she'll never want for anything a day in her life. That's my prayer every single morning. And that's true. That's real. That's not, I ain't trying to impress nobody. That's
Look,
real.
you impressed me because
Yeah.
I didn't know. My husband don't be sharing his praise out. That's between him and the Lord.
No,
You
that's
hear
just,
me?
but that's my desire.
So y'all heard it first. I heard it first.
Yeah. So, but it's just it. But yeah, so we share our
That's
experiences
sweet.
and everything like that, and it's apparently what we do is effective because people want us all over the country, and they
Mm-hmm.
watch us. Oh, our Pakistan guest didn't get on tonight. Yeah,
No.
but so we get people all over the world, obviously, that
Mm-hmm.
watch the show and things like that. And we thank you guys.
And we
first
thank
of
you
all.
for
Yeah.
YouTube with you
Oh,
watching
man.
from YouTube. I know it's streaming on
Yes.
YouTube as well.
Yes.
So again, I know we kept you guys
Yeah,
quite a little bit
longer.
over, but
The real quick announcement: we are coming up on our 100th episode in
Mhm.
June 18th, and we are in the process of trying to get something going. We want to have a big thing around that time frame. So we're trying to
Mhm.
put some stuff together. We're going to have special guests. We're going to have a big
It's gonna be
celebration.
nice.
We've been doing this for 3 years now. 100 episodes is
I'm
huge, guys.
excited, y'all.
So this is something that when we look back on it, like we did that many episodes. But I mean, it's like wow. It's
Mhm.
like I've been with you that long. It'll be 4 years next month, y'all.
Yeah.
4 years next month with my baby, my boo thing. Been
Woo.
rocking this thing out. You go, girl. Make it
You
happen.
rocking it.
Make it happen. You do your thing. But listen, so we're excited because we still have new ideas and things
Mhm.
that we want to do
We're
with the
gonna
show.
start back
and
the tour.
We're gonna start touring.
Touring all over, the United States. We know a lot of people from all different regions, so we're excited about it. Being at social mixers, family reunions, you name it.
Yes.
Just having, a
Just having a
meetup
good
group,
time. We're going to
whatever
be
the
doing
case may be.
remotes, live remotes,
Mhm.
doing our show live.
So stay
From those different
tuned.
things. Stay tuned, but not only stay tuned, if you would like to have us at your whatever the function is,
Yeah.
reach out to us.
We don't discriminate. Look, I know he mentioned pastor, but look,
That's
when
the other side.
we do let sun wine,
No, that's
we
the other side.
understand.
Yeah, that's the other side. Now this is
Yeah.
relationship oriented.
Mhm.
Now, God is our foundation.
Just to help y'all. For those it's like, okay, it got to be the church of it. No, not necessarily. We actually had an event in Atlanta, Georgia. We had an alcohol
Well, we had
What
drinks made, and we
drinks
had
made,
adult beverages, and
adult
we had
beverages,
virgin
and
beverages,
yep,
is what we called it.
basically.
Well, because we recognize that our whole audience is not always going to be that, and so
So we want to
because
cater to everyone.
right,
It's not anyone.
right,
We had teenagers in the building. We
man,
had young adults. So this is not. We had singles,
singles,
dating, all of
yeah,
it. So
yeah, it
it's
gets off
really
the
for
chain.
everyone.
Definitely. So yeah, if you guys would like to have us, reach out, let us know. Like my wife
Yes.
said, conventions, book fairs. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whatever
Yeah.
you may be having, carnival, something you'd like to have
Yeah.
somebody come up, karaoke. You'd like to have
Oh
somebody be a part
yeah.
of,
He got
dealing with
you.
relationship.
I'm gonna put that out there first because
Whoa.
I did my one and done.
How you go? We're the guests. We're going to be talking. We're
Okay.
going to let
As
them do
long
the
as we
karaoke.
don't pass me that mic.
I'm gonna make sure you get it. But listen, but yeah, so we're available. But listen, we love you guys so much. We thank you so much for tuning in with us. You guys have a great night. We'll give you your Monday back, and we'll see you guys next week.